Welcome to today's episode of Critical Mass Nonprofit Radio Show. I am your host, Rick Franzi. We have two different segments today. Our first segment, we're going to be talking about KidWorks, and we have board member David Benavides as their representative. This community talk show, which is our nonprofit show, airs on the last programming day of each month on Orange County's only community radio station, octalkradio.net. If you're listening to this show as a podcast, maybe from Apple iTunes, we encourage you to consider listening live during our broadcast times. The show is brought to you by our advertisers, Brandman University, Center Club, Commercial Bank of California, Decision Toolbox, MBN Design, Smart Business Magazine, S&H Rubber, Succession Strategies, Tone Software, and UPS Protection. The goal for the show is to help our listening audience of CEOs running middle market firms to learn more about nonprofit organizations who are serving the needs of our Orange County and global residents. David, welcome to the program.
Rick, thank you very much for having me.
It's my pleasure. Let's start by asking you to tell me a little bit about you and kind of your background and how did you discover and then get involved in KidWorks?
Sure. Well, I'll start off a little bit with KidWorks here. In central Orange County, the city of Santa Ana, the densest city in our county, there are pockets of neighborhoods that are very challenged neighborhoods. And in those neighborhoods, we have kids with much promise growing up and facing some of these challenges, whether it be gangs or just poor living conditions and such. So KidWorks steps into those areas, walks alongside these kids, providing after-school programs, a number of other things which I'm sure we'll talk about. And as far as my background, I grew up in a neighborhood not much different like some of those neighborhoods where KidWorks is serving.
Interesting.
One of 7 kids in my family, first to go to college, and just wanted to be able to give back. I connected while I was in college, initially as an intern with KidWorks, and eventually went on staff, was director of some of the programs there, and over the last number of years I've been serving as a board member. My introduction into that neighborhood and into the city of Santa Ana actually eventually led me to run for office to try to bring some positive change in our city. So I'm currently serving as a councilman as well in our city.
And which city?
City of Santa Ana.
Okay, congratulations. I didn't know I had a councilman here in our president. How about that? A politician, for goodness sakes, in addition to a person who does good works for KidWorks. So tell me the history of KidWorks, maybe a little bit about the founder, just kind of set the context for the arc of the story that is KidWorks.
Sure, absolutely. So we're actually celebrating our 20th anniversary this year. So back 20 years ago, there was a pastor, an associate pastor, worked with youth in a suburban church, a large church here in Orange County. He was a Latino background, grew up in a modest Latino family. And even though he was working in a large, primarily mainstream church, what he always kind of struggled with is the fact that there were a lot of kids growing up like him in some neighborhoods here in Orange County, Santa Ana being host to some of those neighborhoods. So KidWorks started with the idea of challenging college students to spend their summers doing something to give back, to work with children, mentor them, do Bible clubs with them, recreation programs, and just really trying to speak hope into these kids.
Okay.
In some of our more challenging neighborhoods in Orange County. Again, a number of those in the city of Santa Ana. So that's where KidWorks started. Eventually it expanded from being not just a summer program, college students living in these neighborhoods, but took one of the apartments in one of these dense apartment communities and turned it into a drop-in after-school program, continue to evolve and grow, and at this point, 20 years later, KidWorks is serving over 800 kids and families, having some of our students go on to modern-day high school, other schools, off to college on scholarship, Georgetown, Scripps College, serving in other places around the world, and it's all coming from some of our tough pockets here in Santa Ana and the core of Orange County.
So we're talking with David Benavides, and he is board member at KidWorks. I would like to ask you, when a child gets involved in KidWorks, how long? I mean, do they stay from an early age till when they graduate high school? But just do that setup for me. Tell me.
Sure,
a little
absolutely.
About
that. Well, at this point, again, there's been an evolution over the last 20 years. But at this point, essentially, from pretty much cradle to college is what we say we work with kids. Cradle meaning that parents, we do parenting classes and programs for parents. But as far as our programs for the children, they start from preschool. What we found years ago is that a lot of our kids, by the time they reached elementary school, their parents, like mine, did not have much of an education, a formal education. My mother reached 7th grade, my dad 5th grade, before they ended up having to stop school back in the native country of Mexico to be able to help make ends meet.
Right.
That's the story of a lot of our kids in our neighborhoods. So what we found is that a lot of our kids were already behind when they started elementary school. So we started a preschool program. It's a state licensed preschool program. At this point, kids can start from the age of 4 in our preschool program. Then when they go into elementary school, there are after school programs to help them with their homework. There are enrichment programs as well, very volunteer heavy. So a lot of what we're able to do impacting the lives of these kids depends on volunteers, on businesses, connecting and sending some of their employees out, or just people who have a desire to have an impact on a child's life. They come and spend time tutoring. There are direct mentoring, one-on-one, two-on-one programs. There are enrichment, one of the arts programs as well. So basically from preschool, K through 12, and now that we have some of our K through 12 students graduating, and we are having a college program to ensure that our students are able to stay in college, that they continue to receive that support. Because oftentimes what we find is that some of students, particularly in the urban context, when they're the first generation student to go off to college, it becomes difficult for them to actually finish.
Sure, I would think so. Such a new and challenging environment.
Absolutely.
Right.
So the idea that there's a lot of education support, but part of our mission is to restore at-risk neighborhoods one life at a time. So we believe that where a child grows up should not dictate their future and then hold them back. But so we are a community development nonprofit, so essentially we're pouring into these kids, these families, but also their living environment. We advocate for better housing, for just a better, healthy environment overall. And Rick, we're having tremendous success.
Great. It sounds like it's a worthy cause and much needed in the communities, and I want to thank you on behalf of Critical Mass Radio Show for coming in to share a little bit about KidWorks. We're going to take our first commercial break, David, and when we come back, I want to continue the conversation about KidWorks, and I also want you to talk to me a little bit about the guiding principles that are within the organization. So don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back after these words from our commercial sponsors.
Can we talk about your family business? You know, that thing you put your whole life's blood, sweat, and tears into? Well, what happens when you retire or try and pass that business on to your children? At Succession Strategies, we can help you find the answers. We'll guide you through the unsettling process of protecting your family legacy and successfully passing your business on to the next generation, safely and securely, ensuring that it'll both survive and thrive for generations to come. So ask yourself just one question. Can I really afford to wait? Take the first step. Take our complimentary self-assessment at successionstrategies.com or call us at 714-560-9022 to set up a free consultation at your convenience. That's succession-strategies.com.
Commercial Bank of California, or CBC, is a well-funded, full-service bank located in the heart of Orange County. CBC is ranked in the top 6% nationally for financial strength. Commercial Bank of California was founded in 2003 by a group of Orange County's finest entrepreneurs. To this day, our bank is governed by our founders, including General William Lyon of William Lyon Homes, Alex Morello of the Morello Group, and Frank Willie of Fidelity National Financial, to name a few. In short, we're a bank founded, built, and run by entrepreneurs, for entrepreneurs. Not every business in Orange County should be our customer. However, if your business is looking for a bank that can assist in finance, production, analytics, and risk management, there's no better bank to choose. To understand the true power of how Commercial Bank of California can help you achieve your goals, give us a call at 714-431-7000 or visit us on the web at www.cbcal.com or at our new headquarters at 19752 MacArthur Boulevard in Irvine. Member FDIC. Today's businesses are embracing voice-over IP telephones and unified communication desktop technologies to more effectively communicate and collaborate with their customers, suppliers, and colleagues. The Reliatel management software from Tone Software Corporation helps organizations of all sizes manage their communications technologies to ensure great voice quality and better levels of service and reliability throughout their business. Through Reliatel, you'll gain higher return on investments from VoIP and unified communications technologies while lowering the associated operational support and maintenance costs. Learn more. Visit www.tonesoft.com or call 800-833-8663 for information on Reliatel by Tone Software, the solution for quality business communications.
And welcome back to this edition of Critical Mass Radio Show, our nonprofit edition. I'm your host, Rick Franzi. David Benavides is our guest. He's a board member at KidWorks. I'd like to thank and acknowledge our listeners who download our radio show as a podcast, maybe from Apple iTunes. You've downloaded over 18,000 episodes during the last 30 days, and we here at the program appreciate your continued and growing support. Of course, all of our shows can be heard live on internet radio station octalkradio.net or rebroadcast anytime, as I said, from iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker.com. Hundreds of middle market companies' websites whose CEO have been on our show, and they put the player on their website, as well as other business-oriented podcasting services. You know, during the break when we were off the mic, David, we were talking about some exciting new things that KidWorks is doing to grow the footprint. So before we talk about the capital campaign, let's talk a little bit about the challenges that you face because you keep students for multiple years and you can only serve so many students regardless of their age. Let's talk a little bit about how that is sort of a governor on your ability to bring in new students.
Right, when you think about it, we have 48 preschool students every year, 2 sessions, 24 students each. Then that then transfers over to first grade, where we have new students as well wanting to join. And so there's only, if you then extend that over a number of years, we are in fact now maxed out as to the number. We have a waiting list of almost 300 students who
almost
would like
half
to be
your
a part.
population.
Right.
You have 800. You have 300 who would like to join if you could accommodate them tomorrow.
Exactly, and at this point, you know, when you have so many children with tremendous promise growing up in, again, some challenging neighborhoods, but we truly believe that if we provide some support, educational support, some mentoring, these kids will be the brightest in the area, really the leaders of Santa Ana, Orange County, and our region. And so that part of the friction, the challenge that we have is that we want to serve more, but we are at capacity.
Okay.
So that has led us to the question as to, you know, how do we potentially reach and serve more children?
Right, which is an all too common challenge for small and middle-sized nonprofits, right?
Right.
You know who they are. You have a list of people.
Right.
And expanding your capacity is difficult because it usually requires resources and money.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And space is one of those things in order to be able to acquire the funds to be able to support these children. So at this point, what happened here in the last years, we had a tremendous opportunity, a 10,000 square foot warehouse that is adjoining our current community center, which is actually a warehouse. It was previously a warehouse for restaurants. They had some of their catering trucks that were stored in this warehouse.
Okay.
They vacated. They needed to sell. We were able to through some tremendous support through partners and friends of our organization, acquire and rehab this warehouse to become a state-of-the-art community center. Pretty much from the beginning, we were almost maxed out. Over the years, we definitely have been, at this point, 300 students on waiting list. So something happened this last year that the warehouse next door has become available. At this point, we've entered into a lease for it.
Okay.
But what in order to be able to turn it into the state-of-the-art community center that we know it can be and needs to be, we need to go through a process to be able to acquire ownership of it. So we're actually launching on a very exciting capital campaign here. You're actually the first to hear of it, Rick, because we haven't yet made it public. But we are launching on a capital campaign to be able to double our footprint, to add a 10,000 square foot community center to serve, again, one of the most challenging areas in the county.
So what magnitude of a capital campaign is required to be able to realize this next phase in KidWorks?
So we have a goal of $2.5 million to be able to acquire and make the improvements, tenant improvements. And I mentioned that it's an exciting capital campaign. One of the most exciting things is that we have already received our initial lead gift of $1 million. So we're well on our way. A foundation here, local family foundation, Sacred Harvest Foundation, has expressed their desire to be that lead gift. So we're very excited. There are so many more children. We're pretty much going to be able to double the amount of children that we're able to serve. There's no better investment than we can make than into the lives of young people and to kids.
And so will the information on the capital campaign become available to the general public in the future?
Absolutely, because we will need the general public to be able to be a part and to make this a reality.
Right. Do you have any specific funding events in mind or planned for 2015 that will support this capital campaign?
We will have a lot of what we will be doing is through sit-downs, meetings with people that would be able to be interested. We will also have a few other events. What I want to encourage folks to do is to visit our website to be able to learn more, and maybe I can share that site right now. It's the organization name is KidWorks, and so it's very simple. KidWorksOnline.org is our website. So it's
spelled just like it sounds.
Just like that. KidWorks, and it's a singular kid, but it's plural works. So KidWorksOnline.org.
All right, we're going to come back to that at the end of the program too, David, just to make sure that people have it if they didn't get a chance to write it down, and maybe they're listening to us live today. So let's turn our attention away from the capacity issue and growing your footprint. Can you share with our audience some of the other challenges or a major challenge that KidWorks is facing and what the board and the ED are doing about it?
One of the main things is that it is capacity. One of the things that we have, again, is we have a waiting list, a lot of children that we want to be able to serve. But overall, just the environment that these children are growing up in, it's a challenging place. You have in Orange County, we don't have government housing. What we do have is dense apartment communities where you have families that are lower income find themselves doubled and tripled up in an apartment. So you have sometimes 2 families, 3 families growing up within a 600 square foot space, a family in the living room and each of the bedrooms. And so what we are trying to figure out is how do we work alongside other partners to be able to address the needs and challenges of just the living environment around that area. And what we are finding is that it really takes leaders from within those neighborhoods. We need people to be able to step up and to be able to advocate in their local governments, for example, to be able to have policy that attends to some of those challenges, public safety, housing conditions, parks, open space. And so part of what we do also is support that type of leadership development. We believe that that change comes from within those neighborhoods. That's something that our board, our staff is consistently supporting. But again, to be able to make some of those changes, it comes down to volunteers, people, whether it be board members, people in the business community, business sector, who want to be able to bring their expertise, their passion to be able to be a part of ensuring a sustainable, long-term, positive future.
How many people do you have on your board?
So we have 17 board members right now.
Very robust.
It is, it takes a lot of folks.
Open board seats? Or is that a
what we do have is we have a rotation. We have terms essentially for board members. So we do have every year a couple of board members that are going to be cycling off.
So you are always in need of new board members.
Absolutely.
And every year you have to replenish the board because they term out.
Exactly. So we have regular actual governing board members, and we have also advisory council or advisory board members as well. That we always want to be able to give people an opportunity to be engaged and be a part of this amazing organization and the mission of restoring neighborhoods, and again, Orange County. It's a beautiful county, but we do have some pockets that are in challenging situations.
Very densely populated pockets too.
Absolutely.
It sounds like you've got 3 sets of family in a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom apartment.
Right.
That's a lot of people in a crowded space, and that's that brings its own set of challenges, doesn't it?
True.
So let's, with the few minutes that we have left, David, let's talk about the future. Beyond the capital campaign and growing your footprint, as a board member who's been intimately involved in this organization for a long time, where do you see the future of KidWorks?
Well, one of the things that we're learning right now is that we are thinking back to our initial successes back 20 years ago. And where we started, Rick, is moving people, and initially college students. I was one of those initial college students that moved into one of these tough neighborhoods, and we took an apartment unit and were able to have a tremendous impact. In first, it was one apartment, one street, one neighborhood. Then we went to a second and then a third. And a few years ago, we saw our growing need to be able to have a more comprehensive community center. Now what we have, so we have a 10,000 square foot community center now. Through the capital campaign, we're looking forward to doubling our footprint into another 10,000 square feet. So that will be our central hub. But what we are going back to is this idea that maybe we need to go back and also have these what we're calling spoke centers back into some of these apartment communities throughout the capital of Orange County here, the city of Santa Ana, so we can be able to reach more children, more families.
Yeah, more convenient too, right? If you're in their same apartment building.
Right, and we find that we can just exponentially impact more folks and have an impact in more neighborhoods, and there's a significant amount of return for investment, if you will, because there's less overhead in some of those smaller centers, supported by the primary or the main center. So it's an innovative. It's different than most nonprofits, most organizations. We're finding that we're going to be able to continue to replicate what we do. Again, having a tremendous impact. I think there's more students that can go to Mater Dei, more students that could go to the Georgetowns of the world, and Scripps College, and Biola University, my alma mater, a number of other universities out there. And there's no reason why, again, where a child is growing up should limit them and their potential.
Absolutely. And I would think as those people do, like you become role models for other younger people who maybe don't realize they can.
You actually, you're tracking very well here, Rick, and that's exactly it. Is that as you're able to impact one child, what oftentimes happens is that you change and sort of rewrite the story of the rest of the family, because the cycles are broken. Right. And we've found that time and time again, where you may have had an older brother who may have been involved in a gang. You get that middle child who connects with KidWorks. They choose another life option, which is sticking with school, doing well. Suddenly, the younger siblings are doing well. Now this whole family is different, and soon this whole neighborhood is different. The whole city, the whole area, and what we're finding is that a number of our young people who've become young adults, gone out to college, even started their own families, are coming back and choosing to be the role models, even joining the staff, and it's just so exciting and rewarding to be able to see just generational impact. Now we have pretty much a whole generation, 20 years later.
20 years, yeah. And
so it's, to a certain degree, we're just getting started, Rick. It's just going to be an amazing future here for us.
Tell me again your website for KidWorks.
KidWorks, it's KidWorksOnline.org.
Dave, I can't thank you enough for coming in and sharing the story of KidWorks. I want to wish you great success with your capital campaign. I'm so excited that you got a huge leg up on the campaign, which begets future donations, right?
Yes,
you
absolutely.
get that first foundational investment, and people rally behind the cause. So I want to thank you for the work you're doing. You're a friend of our community. You're part of the critical mass community and the good works that you're doing here in Orange County for the people in need. Have a great holiday, and appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much, Rick. Honored to be here. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our second commercial break here in Critical Mass Radio Show, and then we're going to invite Dawn Reese into the studio. She's the executive director for the Wooden Floor. So don't go anywhere. We'll be talking with the Wooden Floor after these words from our sponsors.
When it comes to pioneers in their respective industries, we all know the Apples, Starbucks, and Trader Joe's of the world. In the realm of recruiting, Decision Toolbox is the industry's best-kept secret. With 90% of their business from referrals and repeat customers. For over 20 years, Decision Toolbox's U.S.-based team of recruiters, sourcers, professional writers, quality personnel, and tech support has perfected a Six Sigma approach to talent management. No matter the size of the project, Decision Toolbox delivers incredible results. A cost per hire less than half of what contingency firms charge, with the winning candidate presented in an average of 14 days, all with a 12-month candidate warranty. With results like that, Decision Toolbox won't be a secret for long. Visit us at www.dtoolbox.com for more information.
Hey, did you know that over 73% of consumer packaged goods and retail products fail miserably within their first year? Why? Because they find themselves in the pit of unawareness. You don't want to go there. Call me, and I'll make sure that your packaging gets noticed. You know how I know? Because I'm the founder and creative director of MBN Design. We're one of Orange County's most established and trusted design firms. With over 20 years of experience, I can ensure that your brand will always stay new. Ask me how our packaging sold millions in months, or see for yourself other success stories on our website at www.mbndesign.com. We're MBN because we're making brands new. Call 714-458-8701 and talk to me, Hector Garcia. That's my cell, 714-458-8701. I'll be waiting for your call.
UPS Protection has been protecting systems in the U.S. against brownouts, blackouts, and poor quality power for over 25 years. We provide power protection systems, including UPS, lighting inverters, generators, and service for clients from coast to coast. We specialize in solving all your power needs. As a direct reseller of the best brands in the industry, including Liebert, PowerWare, and APC, we can solve all your power protection needs. Protecting your power is our main goal. We offer on-site or depot repair of our critical equipment. To better serve your budget constraints, UPS Protection also offers both reconditioned and new products.
Welcome back to this edition of Critical Mass Radio Show. I am your host, and as promised, Don Reese, who is the Executive Director of the Wooden Floors in the studio. But before we go there, I'd like to let you know that our audience demographic is 98% business owners and executives who listen to learn from the experiences of our guests. If your firm is interested in reaching these top decision makers, then advertising on the radio show is the answer. Each month, our sponsors gain valuable exposure through their support of the program, and with our exclusive prospect engagement program, Critical Mass Radio Show delivers 24 warm prospects to our platinum advertisers each year. If you'd like to learn more, contact our VP of Sales, Rose Chamora, at 951-515-4661. Don, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Rick.
It's nice to have you here.
Thank you. Really appreciate the opportunity.
My pleasure. We're going to spend most of the interview together talking about your organization, but before we do that, let's talk a little bit about you.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about your background and how you ultimately became the executive director for the organization.
Super. I started my early career in business. I was working at a management consulting company in the early 80s, and we focused on the technology sector. And I had this wonderful opportunity to start a nonprofit at the time called the Technology Council. And I had the opportunity to grow a board and work on volunteer leadership and management of an organization from the startup side of it. And during that time, too, I also had a lot of opportunity to work on boards. So I was on the Southern California South Bay Children's Health Center board, and also the Torrance Symphony board when I was pretty young. And so that gave me an opportunity to serve on a board, but also to develop an organization and a nonprofit, and also brought my really love and belief in helping children. And so that was where the hybrid of my early career focused. And so moving fast forward, 30 years later, when I had the opportunity to work at the wooden floor, I had started the last 10 years of my career in nonprofit leadership and management positions, and specifically in the arts. And an opportunity came up to work at the wooden floor, and it just resonated with me because of my love of, working with children, the arts, helping young people overcome obstacles in life, just really blended together.
Okay.
And so when I kind of did a lifeline of myself in the last year, is that my early career, when I came out of college, I wanted to be a teacher and then a principal. And in reality, being at the wooden floor today, I am a teacher and a principal.
There you go. You realized your dream.
Just took me a 30-year journey to get there.
Doesn't matter how long it takes.
But I did. And, that's why I have such passion and purpose for what I'm doing here at the wooden floor. And it really, for me, it doesn't feel like work, because it's essentially everything that I'm about.
So let's talk about the wooden floor then.
Sure.
To be honest, your organization first came to my attention earlier this year. Great. So I didn't know the history, the richness, and exactly the impact that you've had. So take us back to the start, how it got started, and then bring us up to where you are today.
Okay, great. So we were founded in 1983 by a sister. Her name was Beth Burns, with the Order of St. Joseph of Orange. And Beth decided that she would like to have a pilot dance program one summer, and that was to basically help kids stay off the streets and out of poor behavior, drugs and alcohol and all of that. And in reality, what happened was, when the summer was done, the students didn't want to go back to their everyday life. And they asked Beth, can we stay with you? And she said, well, that wasn't my plan. She was just a pilot, for the summer. So she went to the order and said, I'd like to see what I can do with this program. And so initially it started doing ballet training and some contemporary dance. And then over time, in the last 30 years, we're celebrating our 32nd year in January, it's evolved to a really comprehensive youth development organization that couples a rich dance education and very inventive and creative dance making with academics, college prep, and family services. So today, 100% of our students graduate high school on time and immediately enroll in college, and that's for a 10th year in a row this year.
Wow.
And so
how many students do you have?
We have 375 at our campus in Santa Ana, and then we serve another 3,000 students in our community engagement program called Dance Free Weeks. And that goes into all the Title I schools in Santa Ana and the surrounding communities where arts funding has been cut back. So we go in for a week and provide dance education just on a very simplified basis, but that's actually our jumping off point into our Additions Day at the wooden floor. So we promote the wooden floor, we pass out flyers, we get people excited, and out of the 400 students that line up each year now, I would say almost 50% of them are coming from dance-free weeks, because they just change so much just in a week, because they don't experience the arts in everyday life.
So you have to help me with the math, though. You have 375 students that you can serve, but you have open enrollment where 400 students apply. How many openings do you have that those
We
400?
only now have 60 to 70 spots a year, and that's due to our retention strategies we put in place a few years ago. Because if you think about after school, traditionally it's usually an after school environment, something to keep children when their parents may be working or something like that. And so when you're 13 and you're going to high school, you don't really need after school anymore. But that's when we say that's when we're with you to help you navigate your high school life. And so what's happening, which is a good victim of our success, I guess, is that we have a lot of students staying with us today all the way through high school. And so what's happening is our graduating classes were maybe 10 per year. Now we have 27 this last year, 24 this year's pipeline, 32 in the junior class already. So that means that we just have more teenage needs today.
And how young are they when they first come to the wooden floor?
They're in third grade.
Third grade.
For the most part today, because our enrollment is so tight, that and so they basically have to have a love of movement and be low income. But once they're auditioned and they're accepted, they never have to re-audition. They're just always with us, and there's no education or academic requirement. So we have students from 1.0 to 4.6. And so we take them in and we help them and guide them, and by the time they leave, they're able to graduate high school and go to college. And so,
and how many hours a day are they with you?
They could be with us between 2 to 4 hours a day, depending on what their schedule is. So when they're young, they take 1 or 2 classes, and when they're in high school, they can take 4 to 5 classes a week.
So I think I get the name, but tell me the genesis of the name, the Wooden Floor.
So the Wooden Floor really is about the youth development model that we have for our students, and our tagline is "From here you can step anywhere." So the Wooden Floor is the firm foundation we provide for them to have the tools and resources to be successful in school and life as a jumping off point to where they're going to go in their future.
This is unbelievable. What a great organization that has been, you said 32 years servicing. I mean, how many graduates of the program are there?
So we've served 80,000 young people since through Dance 3 Weeks and the on-campus program. And currently we have over 100 students in colleges and universities around the country. So in the last, I would say the last 10 years, we've probably graduated out probably 250 or so students, just who have stayed the whole 10-year journey. Those are the students we count.
So you are really expecting a serious commitment from the student.
Right.
It's not come for the this is the second program. KidWorks was first started as a summer program and then grew into a full-time. It's amazing how in the same community.
Right. We're good friends with KidWorks, Ava Steffens and the team there. And what the difference, I think, in Ava's model is that it's very focused in that one area of Santa Ana. So all services are for, a certain geographic region of Santa Ana, where our students come from about 14 other cities. So as long as they can have transportation to our campus, we serve them here at the Wooden Floor.
This is an amazing...
And our building is next to the Bowers Museum right off Main Street in Santa Ana. So it's very convenient for them to get there from the train or the bus or walking or bike riding.
When you were gracious enough to give me a tour, it's a wonderful building that you have.
Right, thank you. The philosophy is probably you were a little surprised because I think people think they walk into the traditional after school environment.
Yes, I was a little surprised. Pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, pleasantly. But if you walk in, it looks like any business, university building, because we want the students to feel really confident and to be able to walk into any business park in Irvine or Orange County or a conference room for an interview. You saw our conference room, and we have a really high stewardship level. So we believe we give the students the best and they rise to the best. And so sometimes their home environments just have a lot of challenges, and so we want to have a nice, peaceful, beautiful building for them. But we do that with a high stewardship level. So we don't have any debt at all in the building or carry any debt year round. We're very frugal.
Nothing wrong
but
with that.
We put money in the right places and we invest in our infrastructure.
We're going to take our final break here on Critical Mass Radio Show, Donna. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about the type of education the students get at the Wooden Floor. And you said all they have to have is a love of movement to get started, but that's not all they need to continue in the program.
Right.
So we're going to get into that, ladies and gentlemen, after we listen to and enjoy these words from our commercial sponsors.
Smart Business Network is a business-to-business multimedia company providing insight, advice, and strategy for C-level executives of fast-growth, middle-market, and large companies. As one of the nation's largest publishers of local management journals, under the Smart Business name, Smart Business Network publishes 19 regional print editions, presents dozens of large and small-scale business conferences and award programs, and produces a vibrant interactive digital media presence. For more information, visit us at www.sbnonline.com.
S&H Rubber is a manufacturing company in Fullerton, California. We specialize in custom molded, extruded, and stamped rubber parts. If your next job requires a rubber part, we would appreciate the opportunity to quote on it. We serve aerospace, automotive, and many other industries. We work with many types of rubber, including silicone, EPDM, neoprene, unitrile, and Viton. Our quality system is ISO and AS 9100 approved. Over our 47 years in business, the S&H brand has become known for superior quality, quick turnaround, and competitive pricing. Please check out our website at www.shrubber.com or call 714-525-0277. Let S&H be your sealing solution.
There's something positive about the word up. When things are looking good, they're looking up. When someone's down, you cheer them up. So how do you move up? Well, when it comes to getting your bachelor's or master's degree, there's one university that stacks up. Brandman University. Brandman is ranked by U.S. News & World Report as one of the nation's top 10 universities for online bachelor's programs. Brandman's online graduate programs in business and education also receive top honors. So look us up at brandman.edu. Brandman University. Move up.
Run PSAs in our show occasionally.
Here we go.
Okay. Sorry. My fault. Welcome back to this edition of the Nonprofit Radio Show. I am your host, Rick Franzi. You're listening to Critical Mass, and Dawn Reese is our guest. She's the executive director of The Wooden Floor. I'd like to thank and acknowledge our listeners who download our radio show as a podcast, maybe from Apple iTunes. You've downloaded over 18,000 episodes during the last 30 days, and we here at the program truly appreciate your continued and growing support. But of course, all of our shows can be heard live on octalkradio.net. So if you'd like to listen to us live, that's the way to do it if you're listening to it as a podcast right now. If we're not in your podcasting software as a regular, then just type Critical Mass Radio Show. It'll come up. Subscribe to it through RSS. You'll get our shows, and we do 3 shows each week, and you'll get this kind of entertainment and information each time. Before the break, I said I was going to ask you to sort of help our audience understand the type of dance instruction and performance that the Wooden Floor does.
Okay, great. So I think what our differentiator is in the youth development area is how we use arts to transform students' lives, and so specifically dance for us. And so we start the students off with a ballet, pretty rigorous ballet curriculum that has 10 levels of requirement that they go through the 10-year journey with the students are with us at the Wooden Floor. And then we combine that also with modern dance as well as choreography and improvisation. And so what happens is through the when they're young, they'll take 2 classes a week, and when they're older, like I said earlier, they'll take maybe 4 or 5 classes a week. The idea is each year builds upon each other, and so they just keep on growing stronger and stronger, not just from dance or from physical ability, but also their ways that they construct dance, movement, the way that they work in teams, collaborate, the way they co-create. That's a really hallmark of our work, is that when we bring a choreographer in from New York, we have actually 2 in residence this year. We're creating our piece for the Irvine Barclay Theater. We have 3 pieces, all takes about 100 hours per piece for each student to participate.
I see.
And they co-create. So when the choreographer comes here, they have no preconceived idea or any rep they've done in the past. They actually create the movement with the student, and then what you'll see on stage is actually what has been co-created. And through co-creation, as you know, in business or anything else, that's really the hallmark of every kind of thing that you're trying to create in life and business. Yes. Is that you need how do you ideate? How do you, operationalize a plan? How do you execute on it? How do you refine and rethink and change? What if something goes wrong that you weren't expecting? And so all those kinds of things, they do that for 10 years in a row. So by the time they get out of school, high school, and they go to college, they're so much more well prepared to think outside the box, analytical thinkers.
I think their natural confidence would have
to be
significantly improved.
So I think I don't know if I mentioned to you when we toured, but what happens is when they set a goal in the studio for themselves in the dance classes or the choreographic process, once they're successful, they set that goal, or they fail in that goal, then they can redirect themselves, or if they're successful, that same success then permeates everything they do in their life. So when they say to themselves, oh, I'm going to try for that AP class, or I'm going to try to be a leader in that organization, or I'm going to, they put themselves out there that maybe would have been too shy to do, or not, maybe didn't have the confidence or the self-esteem to do. And so what happens is, because they have so much affirmation through the organization, but we work really hard. It's not just all about, patting them on the back and saying, job well done. Yeah, our tagline is, from here you can step anywhere, but I say, that's a great goal, but you have to do the work. It's not just a matter of, saying, I want to be a doctor, and you have maybe a C in science. You need to really step up your game if you want to do that, and we're going to help you get there.
So when you get them at a young age, you're not really sure how they're dance talent will evolve. What do you do with students who love movement, but maybe you know what I'm saying?
It's all self-directed.
Okay.
So if they don't want to perform, they don't have to.
Okay.
If we think maybe they should perform, maybe that we figure that might help them out a little. We still put maybe students that aren't, advanced. The goal of the Wooden Floor isn't to have advanced dancers. Maybe 2 in 20 go into dance as a major when they graduate. The goal is to have the art, specifically dance, help the students reach their full potential.
So you're very focused on getting students into college.
Right.
And I applaud that, because education is a gateway out of a lifestyle into a different standard of living many times. How do you prepare them for college? What about the program is moving them in that direction?
Well, there's a couple things that we do is that from day one, when they register with us, we give them a class, and we'll say, you're the class of 2024. And the student will say, well, what does that mean? And we say that with their mom and their dad or whomever they have with them, and the student and us. And we said, well, we're a triangle. So it's you, the student, the parent, and the Wooden Floor working together. So in 2024, that's when you're graduating high school and going to college. So the little third grader, their eyes roll back. Right. I'm sure you're a third grader. I know my son would have said, what are you talking about? But even for our families, maybe that's the first time they've ever even had someone talk about college. Maybe no one in their life has ever been to college. So then from that point forward, we're talking college all the time with them, even in third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade. But really in sixth and seventh grade, that's really starting to, we bring them into career nights. We have them come in to find out what's going on. We bring executives in from the community to speak. We've had CEOs, technology leaders, doctors, surgeons, dancers, those who have gone professionally into dance, and then starting really in ninth grade, that's when we start the whole college prep process. So A3G requirements, what do they need to get into UCs, Cal States, private schools, and then in their junior year we have SAT prep. We bring Kaplan on campus, and we offer in the summer of their senior year, we actually go through a whole curriculum that we've developed on getting them ready for college. And
I remember when we were walking your campus, you were saying, your students have got into a variety of colleges around the country.
So we've, in the history, we had a student recently, about 2 years ago, graduated from Wellesley, NYU. We have one at Cornell right now, SMU, Southern Methodist University, 6 at UCLA. We now have 4 because 2 graduated. Okay. UCI's, Chapman's, but then community college. Community college is a huge step for our students. So if they can get an AA, and an example is maybe a student wants to go culinary arts or fashion or something like that. We say, it's really important. Let's get you into a junior college or community college. That's my age, junior.
I know what you meant. That's my age. So I'm perfectly comfortable with that.
Community college is that's when we direct them. So we had a student right now in culinary arts at OCC, is one of the top culinary community colleges in the country for culinary arts. So direct her there, and now she's getting her AA. And I always say there's a big difference in an AA and just a high school diploma for our students, and that their ability then to maybe move into management positions, maybe a hotel or a bakery or a restaurant, group or something like that, is really a big difference.
So and I'm talking with Dawn Reese. She's the executive director of the Wooden Floor. So what do you see the ripple effect of your students in their family or in their community? Have you had more than one student from the same family go through the program?
Yes. So we have we've had 3 Valdivinos children, and this year we have 6 Montalvos that have gone through the Wooden Floor, and we have our last of the 6 go through this year. So it's a big, moment for the family that all their students have all gone to college, or they've either gone to community college, or maybe we also have one in the military of that family, and then also, but 4, I think the most recent ones have all gone 4-year.
What a fantastic!
And the ripple effect really is. Kind of really hit me about a year and a half ago when I was really thinking about it, is that, one student's changed life has the ability to change their family, because we start to see the families do better because they have the family services support network around them.
Okay.
And they're with us for 10 years. So all of a sudden you see the mom and dad maybe doing a little better, or, the family unit doing better because the child's doing better. We're bringing all kinds of workshops into the family, all kind of, great types of activities on everything from finance to nutrition to parenting parenting workshops. And then for the student, what we're seeing is that a student remarked to me that their friends in high school were asking them, I know you're at the wooden floor. Can you tell me how to get to college?
Wow.
And so
they
were starting to mentor. So also I started thinking is, a child really has the ability to affect not only their family, their community, Orange County. And then we had a young boy who told us last year, he spoke at one of our, and I had never heard him talk about it, is that he wanted to become a nurse and he wanted to work in international aid. And I'm thinking, wow, what a great story is we have a student that is here from Santa Ana, and he told us how if he wasn't at the wooden floor, he could be dead because he had friends that were, who had those kinds of things happen, or incarceration, or drug abuse, and that he really firmly believes that if it wasn't for the wooden floor's mentoring of him and encouragement, that he wouldn't have succeeded. And so now just to even think that he's thinking, kid from Santa Ana, I want to work in international aid, I thought that was great and terrific.
That's really inspiring. So, Dawn, I'm gonna have to ask you your guiding principle of all the things that you could decide is important in how you're leading and growing the wooden floor. As the executive director, what's your overarching philosophy for that?
I was telling you earlier, I think I could think of a couple of things, but, I have it on my desk every day, and it's a do unto others as you would have do unto you. And I believe that especially with our children, and that we focus on at the wooden floor, is that, we need to give back to these young people for all the great things that we have in our own life, and we need them to have every single opportunity that we do, especially children that have lower socioeconomic status. That we really firmly believe is that the arts should be accessible for everyone, education should be accessible for everyone, and our part in making that happen is really important. And so if I can do for them as I'd want to have done for me, because I've had so many incredible mentors in my life, then my job is well done.
Pass it on.
Yeah,
That's
it's
amazing.
just about passing it on.
That's amazing. So when is your big event? What time of the year?
So our annual concert is in May at the Irvine Barclay Theater. It's always the weekend after Memorial Day weekend. And so we have 4 performances. Opening night is Thursday night, and then we have 2 performances on, 1 performance on Friday and 2 on Saturday.
Wow.
And then we also have another event in the fall that's more of our fundraiser, which is called Keep the Promise. And it's our promise we make to the students that if they, that we'll support them through their 10-year journey at the wooden floor and on to higher education. And so that event's been growing significantly over the last years. But one we were just talking about recently is we're seeing, we just have been named in the top 5 breakfast events in the Orange County Business Journal. It's going to be announced. And that's
breaking news here on Critical Mass Radio
Show. It's called, our event's called Step Beyond.
Okay.
And when we created it was to announce where the students are going to college, what their plans are, because our supporters and business community come together, business executives, civic, David Benavides and the mayor from Santa Ana come out for that event, as well as other community leaders at the end of April 24th.
Well, we should definitely make sure to make people aware of that event, because that sounds like I'd like to go to it too. If you
right,
could put me on the guest list,
I will.
Come and cover
because what's terrific about that event is that it's all of us celebrating our success as a group and a community to help our young people step beyond the wooden floor, which is their second home, into higher education.
Well, this is amazing work, and I have to give credit to my producer for putting together a great show of 2 very worthy nonprofits. It's our last show for the calendar year, and I can't think of a better way to finish it than talking about the wooden floor with you.
Thank you.
And if someone would like to learn about your organization, how do they find you online?
They can go to our website. It's www.thewoodenfloor.org.
Just like it sounds, right? Spelled the same way?
thewoodenfloor.org.
All right. You've been just a delight.
Thank you.
I appreciate the fine work you
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you and to yours, and continue the great difference that you're making in so many worthy students' lives. That's very impressive.
Thank you.
I want to thank you, Dawn Reese, and thank you, everyone, for listening to Critical Mass Radio Show. Of course, we have to thank our sponsors because they deserve it. Without them, where would we be? Brandman University, Center Club, Commercial Bank of California, Decision Toolbox, Smart Business Magazine, Succession Strategies, Tone Software, and UPS Protection. Our engineer for today was Paul Roberts. Crystal Nunley is our outstanding producer. Amanda Pointer is her assistant. Our guest coordinator is Kathleen Shepard. Marketing strategist and live events manager is Asia Celestino. We just had our live event for this month at the Brandman last night. It was outstanding. Our social media manager is Melissa Padani. Our VP of Sales, Rose Chamora, and I'm your host, Rick Franzi. If you'd like to learn more about our business, Critical Mass for Business, that's our website, Critical Mass for FOR business.com. You know, I want to wish you all a happy and safe holiday season until the next show, which will be in 2015. I hope all of your business decisions will move your company in a positive direction.